Hey everybody, welcome to this Xbox Life episode number 512, titled Bungie Breakup. My name is Rob, your host for the show today. This is the show, this Xbox Life, about Xbox, gaming, Microsoft, whatever else I want to talk about at the moment. Got a whole bunch of changes going on. I don't know how things are going to go here. Changing the whole back end for the streaming, and I don't know. We'll see. It's exciting times. And I probably should do a backup recording. Let me, I don't have my software up and running, but okay, well, we'll see what happens. So it looks like, let's see, are we connected? Yes, we're connected to Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube. Yes. All of them. And it looks good so far. Well, we'll see what happens. So as I mentioned here, there's a whole bunch of changes coming to the show here. Got the first in action today. Got some stuff coming up next week and the following week thereafter. And thereafter. And thanks, Gunny Chief, for, I think that was streaming there. All right. So anyway, let's put all that aside and the difficulties that I had getting the show going, because I sound like my good buddy Mark there with good old OBS updating and hosing the audio and the webcam. It can't be just us having this problem. I don't know. Or maybe it's you just don't upgrade. Just leave it at the old version and don't upgrade every single time. But anyway, just a couple quick announcements here. Listen to us live on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. And I think YouTube is working. Hey, Gunny Chief. I think YouTube is working. I'm crossing my fingers. We'll see. But anyway, right now I broadcast it at approximately 10 p.m. or a little bit after on a Sunday, and that's Central Time. And the show's going to be moving up a little bit, and then probably to another day in the next couple weeks, months. We'll see how that goes. And then this is a show that is not affiliated with Microsoft or the Xbox in any way. It's being done by fans for fans of the Microsoft Xbox. The views and opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of Microsoft. So a couple things that I've been playing lately, and I got to say it, Fortnite, been going crazy with Fortnite, leveling up in Save the World, and I'm getting a frustration sort of with Save the World, at least. And that's that lately it's been matchmaking me with nobody. And if you've ever played Save the World, you know, some of these missions, you need help, especially if they're higher level missions. And so there was one, I decided to go at it myself. And there's this robot Ray that sort of like is the narrator. She kind of guides the story, exactly what's going to happen and what you're supposed to do. So I started my mission. I found the stuff that I needed to find. I was getting resources to build up my base. I got my base almost like halfway done, a little bit more, and then she pulls me out of the game. So I wasted all my resources. But anyway, that's a small annoyance. But the real annoyance is, why can't it match you up with somebody all the time? There's millions of people playing this. It's got to find somebody. And then also there's games where somebody joins in and then they leave right away. Either the level doesn't have something that they're looking for, or they find what they're looking for and then they try to leave. I don't know what the deal is, but very annoying, extremely annoying. But I still love the game. And again, that's Save the World, not the Battle Royale that all the kiddos seem to like. But other than that, I did take a chance on a game called Donut County. So this is a game that came out recently, and It's a basic game. It's like $13, I think it was. So it looked kind of interesting, kind of puzzly, kind of fun. And what it is you have this hole, so you have this area like somebody's house or whatever. There's like some that have a barn and there's stuff all around. And so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to move this hole around. Okay. And then you'll get people and objects and stuff that fall into the hole, and then your hole grows bigger. So you're basically looking to find the small stuff first, and then as the hole grows, you can have it swallow up bigger things. And then there's also a couple sections that are sort of like puzzly, sort of like you get like water that goes into your hole. And so there's one of those, I don't know if you guys ever remember that bird that kind of like dips its head into the drink. It's sort of like that. It dips its head into the hole and then it like drinks all the water. Now you got the water out and then there's a catapult that you can get for it. But anyway, so this game is kind of cute, kind of interesting. And as a whole, it was okay. I guess it's probably worth 12, 13 bucks. It'd be even better if it's on sale, and I can't say that it was disappointing, but it wasn't a whole lot of fun. It was just okay. And there's 24 levels, not super long. You can knock the whole thing out fairly quickly. And there's this dialogue that you have in between the levels of where these people are talking to this raccoon. That's sort of like the donut owner, the donut company owner. And the raccoon is up to no good. And there's a dialogue that goes back and forth. And at first it was kind of interesting. And then it got really boring. And so I just sat there just fast forwarding through everything. But the game it's interesting. You know, if you're really bored, you like this kind of stuff, you might want to check it out. And yeah, it is kind of like Katamari with less fun. That's an interesting way to put it. But yeah, so it's interesting. You might want to check it out if you have the time. And yeah, Gunny says it's also on mobile. But yeah, that's that. I'd give it like a mixed, maybe get it on sale, or if it goes into Game Pass ever. I don't know if it's Game Pass worthy. But if it ever goes in there, you might want to give it a shot. It's worth checking out. I don't know if it's worth buying at the full amount. But a couple quick things here. You can support us on Patreon. Go to This Xbox Life /Patreon. And also you can give us a tip at thisxboxlife.com/donate. You know, nothing's required, but if you want to support the show, you know, anything that you can throw our way is greatly appreciated. It helps defray server costs, or not server costs, hosting costs and all that good stuff. So it's definitely very appreciated. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube, which I'm hoping that we're streaming to live. So onto the couple of things that I want to talk about. Not a whole lot this week. Just 3-4 things, something like that. But one of the bigger things that happened this past week was Bungie called it quits with Activision. And I don't know if they did it's us, not you, or it's you, not us. Whatever the case may be, they're going to be splitting with Activision or ActiBlizzard, whatever you want to call them. Bungie also gets to keep Destiny. And so apparently there's been years of tension between the two. And when this announcement was made, apparently employees at Bungie were like popping champagne and hooting and hollering. They were all happy. So I don't know what they're thinking with the, you know, they just must have been ecstatic. It was just probably a late Christmas present or a late holiday present for the folks at Bungie. Hey, Sober David. Uh, but yeah, apparently there's been a whole lot of, I guess Activision hasn't been happy with the sales of, Destiny franchise lately. It's not meeting their sales standards, whatever those might be. And there's another thing that I thought was really kind of interesting was that according to Activision's requirements of Bungie, they had to launch a new game every year. And, if maybe as a developer, you're not ready. So you're not ready to give out a new title, but your agreement forces you to. So that could lead to some subpar, you know, releases, and in the end the game suffers. Players are unhappy. But that's a interesting thing that happened here, and hopefully it's all for the best. It's better for Bungie. I don't know if it's better for Activision, whatever. But and then looks like Bungie also has a new game in development after getting $100 million investment from NetEase. So that was kind of interesting as well. But so hopefully it's all for the best. Bungie goes back to what they're really good at doing, and that's creating some really good games. They've done Halo, they've done Destiny. And Gunny Chief just mentioned here, Bungie should come crawling back to MS or Microsoft. And that would be interesting. That definitely would be interesting. I would be very surprised to see an announcement. Well, pleasantly surprised to see an announcement at E3 where they say, hey, a new acquisition from Microsoft, Bungie Studios, coming back. Well, they've had a not so great history in the past with the whole Halo thing. Then Bungie kind of split off. But Microsoft, I think, is a different company now. And maybe Bungie's a different company now as well. So maybe, they could make some beautiful games together. We shall see. Then Phil Spencer, of course, had a comment on this whole thing. He sent out a tweet on the 10th saying, looking forward to a very bright future, working with one of my favorite independent studios on one of my favorite franchises. Excited to see how they continue to grow and evolve Destiny. So Phil Spencer's always done a really nice job on Twitter, congratulating people, and this is no different. But it'll be interesting to see if anything becomes of the relationship between Bungie and Microsoft. So that is that. Forbes had an interesting article where they discussed, the title was actually, Xbox losing the console war looks to be the best thing that's happened to gaming in years. And, after reading this article, and I'll read a couple blurbs of it just because I think this is really interesting. So, we know the history where the Xbox launch kind of got flubbed. I guess that's a technical way to put it, where they lost focus, as a lot of us think, where they were really pushing the whole TV aspect. They were really hammering Kinect into everybody's living room, forcing everybody, to get the Kinect Xbox combo. I think that they had a couple of really interesting things up their sleeve in terms of game sharing and such, which kind of got hosed as looks like they stripped out a lot of stuff and, came back to like the real basics. And then we took a whole bunch of years to even get back to like where it was rolling again. Yeah. Gunny says Sony has the best selling console and the worst selling console. And that's really interesting because there's some truth to that. There's some definite truth to that. Because, even though they sell a lot, there's a barbed edge to that, I guess. But anyway, going back to what I was saying here about the different, about the consoles and how Microsoft's botched launch kind of reinvigorated them and made them to rethink a lot of things and in many ways be extremely innovative. And is that a proper way to say it? They had a lot of innovation in the last couple of years. Maybe I should rephrase. But, speaking of innovation, they talk here about how we have the Xbox One X. This is a prime example of what Microsoft has done to innovate, where their console is so superior to the PS4 Pro that Forbes says the only reason to get a Pro is really to play console exclusives on the Sony side. And there's quite a few of them, actually. But every game that is cross-platform that exists on both Sony and Microsoft's side, the Xbox version looks better. And, in part, it's to the 4K gaming, I guess, on the Xbox One X. So Microsoft also innovated in hardware and accessories. They had the design lab, which is still around. It's still in the background there. You can design whatever controller you want in terms of color, and you can even label your little gamer tag on there. They also have the Elite controllers. They have the adaptive controllers. So, and I can also say that the Kinect was also innovative, even though it didn't make it. But to some degree, it did better, I think, than Sony's Move guys, those little Q-tip ping pong ball things. So they had that kind of innovation, compatibility with backwards compatibility. I think that's extremely innovative, where they have hundreds and hundreds of titles that are now available to be played, going back 2 generations, original Xbox and 360. And that's pretty amazing. Also with, Game Pass, that's definitely another innovative thing, right? Game Pass, a service, a subscription service. We've always talked about the whole Netflix-like service. Well, that's almost exactly what this is. Well, except you don't have to mail anything back and forth. We also have the stuff that I talked about last week, HDMI 2.1, 120 hertz refresh rates, automatic low latency, variable refresh rate. It's all in there. The PlayStation has had some innovation itself with the PlayStation VR. That's kind of an alternative to going the extremely expensive PC route. Because if you don't have an up-to-date PC, you're not going to be playing a lot of VR because it just can't function with like an old graphics card and all that. Let's see here. So, those are a bunch of the things that they discussed in this article. And, it's cool that, an organization like Forbes, which to me is a fairly respected publication, and by the way, it's really cool that they're doing a whole ton of gaming content lately, because whenever I play Fortnite Battle Royale and I'm looking for something, I usually go to them because they have a pretty good view of the map and so forth. And they tell you exactly where the stuff is without a lot of garbage that a lot of other sites do. But it's pretty cool that they're posting this and they're actually giving the thumbs up to Microsoft for a change, because we know a lot of publications and media outlets really love to tout Sony all the time. But, both systems are good, and it's nice to see that Microsoft is being acknowledged here. But another thing here, we talked about some predictions from Michael Pachter last couple of shows. And he's got some more predictions for what's going to be happening later on this year. And out of all of these analysts, I think Pachter is pretty close to being right on most of the time. I mean, nobody's perfect. You can't get it right every single time, but he does pretty good. And he's saying that the PS4 and Xbox One will receive price cuts this year. We've had price cuts over and over and over in the Xbox One, time frame, because it originally started at what, $500, $499 with Kinect, and then $399. Now they're at like the $299 that you can find quite a few sub $299. And we're looking to see some more price cuts apparently. And this really goes out, I think, outside of the whole new consoles that are coming out, like the cheaper consoles that are coming out supposedly this year or next couple months, actually, from some of the rumors that we've been reading. But he says, I think we'll probably get a price cut on all of them, meaning all the consoles. And Nintendo may position it as a reinvented Switch. I think this is kind of interesting on the Switch aspect. And he's saying, my guess, that Nintendo is going to take the Switch and get rid of the Switch part, so it'll be handheld only. They'll probably just make the Joy-Cons part of the integrated body of the tablet and probably drop the price. Get rid of the docking station and external power supply. Just turn this thing into a handheld that's rechargeable with a power cord like a normal handheld and charge $200 for it. That'd be kind of interesting. A more affordable Switch without all of that stuff that some people don't want. Like, I know my son, he really has no interest ever in playing the Switch on a TV. It's always handheld. And if you can get rid of that whole Joy-Con mess with charging and well, I guess then you couldn't detach them to play some of those games. But I think some of those games where you want to detach the Joy-Cons, you really won't play those games on a TV. But, Nintendo makes tons of different versions of their handheld, so I could see this being an option. And then he continues on to say, and Sony can probably cut the price. Microsoft probably will cut the price. You'll probably get a $199 Xbox and a $249 PlayStation and a $199 Switch. That's handheld only, and that'll probably be enough to drive unit demand and keep it consistent year over year. So that's kind of interesting, and I don't know if we'll see any kind of change anytime soon, meaning I bet it'll probably happen later on, just closer to the holidays, because that seems to be the hot time to make these cuts anyway. But interesting. So it'd be interesting to see if it'll force people to buy more Xboxes. But speaking to a game here that is super old, that might be coming to the Xbox, that's Borderlands. So Borderlands came out almost 10 years ago in 2009 when it got released for the 360. And it looks like the Taiwan Digital Game Rating Committee rated Borderlands Game of the Year Edition for Xbox One and PS4. So I know that we've had Borderlands in various flavors over the past couple of years, like the Handsome Jack version and the Telltale games and so forth. But, that was Borderlands 2. And then we also had Borderlands, a pre-sequel. I think that one, the pre-sequel. And then Borderlands 3 might be around the corner. So, hey, getting a remastered Game of the Year, improved for Xbox One X version of the original might be pretty cool. I don't know if I would play it, but it was definitely a fantastic game. I definitely enjoyed pretty much all of the Borderlands games, except I really didn't play the Telltale one. But look for this thing sometime soon. And I believe that is all. Not a whole lot again this week. So let's see here. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, you can go to thisxboxlife.com, click on the voicemail widget at the right-hand side of the screen. Click on that. You can leave a message up to 90 seconds long. If you need to do a longer time, you can leave multiple or send a recording to contact at thisxboxlife.com. MP3 preferable because, small size and all that. Also, we're on Twitter, thisxboxlife.com/Twitter, or you can search for us at thisxboxlife. We have a Facebook group. This is a closed group, meaning you have to ask for permission. We get regular requests to join the group without answering these simple little questions. So if you go to ask for membership to the group, answer the questions. They're super easy. Put something in there. Well, put something correct in there. And I won't tell you what it is, but you should be able to figure it out. And that's a closed group, meaning that only members of the group can see the posts. So it stays within the group, and the more the merrier. Come join it. All right, now, retail releases.
Okay, Rob, what you got for us today? What you got for us to play? Give us a list of games that we can buy and play. Okay, Rob.
All right, retail releases for the week of January 15th through the 18th. So I believe that's Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday the 15th through Friday the 18th. Got a couple of things. On the 15th, we have Smoke and Sacrifice. Big surprise here. The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 3, Broken Toys. This is a continuation of the Walking Dead Telltale game. The only thing that's really lasting from the closing of Telltale, I believe, Skybound? I think that's the name of the studio. They picked up some of these people. I guess Skybound's also the guys that do The Walking Dead. But they picked up some of the folks that are responsible for The Walking Dead, and they're having them finish the last season. Then we have the Grand Tour game on the 15th. This is, if you like racing and you like those guys from that British car show, which we won't mention, I guess, because the brand new flavor is the Grand Tour. But the Grand Tour out on the 15th, and then Onimusha Warlords on the 15th. The 16th brings us Planet RIX 13 or RIX 13. 17th, we have Hell Warders, Alvastia Chronicles. On the 18th, we have Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. I'm kind of curious about this one. I really like the original Ace Combat. Didn't really like any of the ones after that. But I don't know. And I keep meaning to check out Hawks, because every time I look at Hawks, it's in back compat supposedly, but I can't find it in the store. I need to try again. It's been a little while since I tried. And then also on the 18th, we have Guacamelee 2. This is a pretty fun game At least the original was, and I'm expecting more of the same with version 2 here. And then Farm Together on the 19th. This will probably be the surprise hit of the year. We'll see. And then Gunny also mentioned pre-sequel was not good. 1 and 2, Borderlands 1 and 2, are good. Yeah, it's pretty much right on the money there. All right, games with gold. We have Celeste continuing through the month of January. I keep meaning to try this one. Still haven't tried it. And then brand new to the scene on Wednesday, we have WRD6. If you want to get your racing on, you can snag that. And then exiting on the 15th is Never Alone. For Xbox 360, we have Lara Croft and the Garden of Light leaving yet again on the 15th, as it's been in games with gold here a couple times, or at least once. This is the second time or third time or whatever. And then Far Cry 2 is coming in January on the 16th. So make sure to grab those, even if you don't have an Xbox 360, you can play them on your Xbox One. So they're definitely worth snagging. The more games, the merrier. And then, as usual, the final announcements are if you make any purchases on Amazon, make sure to use our affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything extra to use our Amazon affiliate link, but we get a teeny tiny little finder's fee for sending you their way. You can find that on our website, and you can find it on the Facebook group up at the top under announcements. Click on the store that applies to you, US or UK, and use that each and every time you make your purchases on there. Also, if you're an iTunes user, find the show on there, give us a 5-star rating. That'd be much appreciated. Great way to support the show. It just takes a couple seconds to do this. The more ratings that we get, the more 5-star ratings that we get, the more we get boosted in the rankings, and everybody likes to be at the top of the rankings now, don't they? And then also follow us on Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube, which I hope we're streaming on right now. Actually, I hope we're streaming anywhere, and it's being recorded properly. And then thanks to Learned Your Lesson for the music. And then Yak says, I liked Celeste. It has some NES-style difficulty. So yeah, Celeste looks interesting. It's one of these cutesy little games that hopefully is cool. So I'm looking forward to trying it. So that's it. Not too long of a show here. That's it for episode 512. We'll see how this recording went. I'm excited to see what awaits for me, what kind of editing nightmare I might have. But I'm hoping for the best. So, all right, folks, my name is Rob, also known as Presar. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll catch you all next week with more changes just to make things interesting, make things exciting. Later.